Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who predicted the Raiders to finish fourth in their division, Kyle. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm good. I brought Jordan Hat back.
Okay.
Jordan Hat gave me an 8-0 week last week, so I'm bringing Jordan Hat back again.
Gotcha.
I didn't bring the Pop-Tart shirt back, but I brought Jordan Hat back.
We'll see.
You're throwing some slander at my preseason prediction there, and I would just like to remind the audience of Week 2 preview, back when I picked the Raiders and Saints as the fourth game to pick from, and you said, well, I have that much lower on my list. This is an easy Saints win. And lo and behold, I baited you right in there for the upset of the week.
No,
Raiders over Saints.
That was a good pick by you. Listen, game recognized game. Big pick by you to pick give me the upset pick. So this now means that for the score right now, currently we're sitting at Kyle has 2 misses. I'm sitting at 3 misses so far through 2 weeks. Kyle went perfect 8-0 last week. I had the one loss. I had the Saints. Unfortunately, rare situation where Kyle was higher on the Raiders than me, but really I was high on the Saints. That was more about the Saints. But anyways, so let's get into our preview. If this is the first time you're watching one of our preview podcasts, the way this works is we're going to give each other a game to pick from. We then just make the pick, and then we also are going to just preview the game as a whole. So that's kind of how we do it. Sort of a fun way to do it. I have the first pick since I got last, or I am currently in last. Trying to make up some ground here. Unless, you know what? I am going to give you, but we'll start things off. Oh, no, sorry. Excuse me. We're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game first. I almost forgot. Let's talk about that Monday Night Football game. Go ahead. What was your initial thoughts to the Las Vegas Raiders winning?
The Raiders did a really good job of controlling the clock. I felt like they had the ball the entire second half. Carr played a very good mistake-free game, and that was the big reason. And I think those are the 2 big points on the Raiders side. On the Saints side, I'm a little worried. I have them on my radar. I'm a little worried without Michael Thomas on that offense. It's over here. I'm paying attention. I just feel like the Buccaneers might still be more talented once they figure all their stuff out. They still have a lot to figure out. They still got to figure out their discipline issues. They got to get all these people on the practice field at the same time. But I might be wavering on if the Saints are the clear-cut NFC South winner here.
Yeah, I picked the Saints to be the NFC winner. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I don't feel great about that pick. Let's talk about the Saints, then we'll get to the Raiders. We'll just go one at a time. I think it's, the question is out there. Is it Jameis Winston time?
No, it's not.
No? Not at all?
No, it's not going to be Jameis Winston.
Don't even think about it. Not this year at all.
No, not this year at all.
Wow. I feel like I don't know. Listen, Drew Brees, with all that he's done, he's earned the right to give him plenty of time to figure out if he's going to, figure it out. But through 2 games, he doesn't look good. He just doesn't. I thought game 1 he was even worse, where he's not taking shots downfield. I don't have confidence in his arm. I thought that he played great towards the end of last season. You and I disagreed, but I'm starting to worry about. I think it's, again, maybe he'll turn it around. Maybe he's just off to a slow start because he is a bit older. But it's fair to have concerns about Drew Brees, your 41-year-old quarterback, who has now looked not good in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, this is the thing that I kind of felt like had been building for at least in the last season. I do feel like that his lack of vertical ball is going to become a problem. And like I said, when a guy is not Michael Thomas when Michael Thomas isn't on the field, how capable is this offense of performing to their level when it's just a bunch of guys running, short to intermediate routes because Brees isn't going to throw it? Michael Thomas fits this, or they built this offense perfectly to fit Michael Thomas's skill set because he's so good in those short to intermediate ranges and getting wide open just about every play. And Brees takes advantage of that. If he doesn't have that option, that outlet there, I think that's going to be a problem. I am really concerned about this passing game. I still think Alvin Kamara is terrific, and I think that's going to be the big thing for this Saints team is how much do they ride Kamara with Thomas out. But I have questions about this passing game and what they do.
I do think that's a fair thing to bring up. the Michael Thomas point. Like this team, you're right. This team is built around Michael Thomas. It's sort of like the Packers with Devontae Adams. There's like a few of these teams that have one receiver that just is the complete. It means so much. But at the same time, Breeze didn't look good with Michael Thomas in week 1 either. I do think I don't know. I'm willing to say I think it's time to consider Jameis Winston. Maybe give him a couple of first team reps. Maybe just do that. I'm not saying put him in just yet. You have to give Breeze time. But you're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. You have a really good backup quarterback. We can all agree Winston is I think most of us can agree he's a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. So I think that this is I'm concerned about Breeze, and I like Breeze, even though I'm a Bucs fan. I've always liked Breeze, but it's concerning for sure.
Yeah, I'm not ready to put Jameis Winston in the games just because I don't think Sean Payton's going to want to roll out a guy who just turned the ball over 42 times last season. I just don't see how that works. Yeah, sure, he's a top 32 guy, but I think the Saints realistically need a top 20 guy, if not even a top 15, top 12. And I don't think Winston's that, and I don't think Breeze right now is that. I'm concerned about where Breeze goes going forward. I don't think it gets better from here for him, and I just don't think Winston's ever going to be that level of a guy.
Well, he turned the ball over 35 times. 7 of those we've recovered, but that's besides the point. 7 of the fumbles we recovered. Anyways, we have the great Bong Dong Silver. Glad to see him back here in the chat. I don't remember the last time, if ever, that I've seen Malcolm Jenkins made to look like such a liability. We were abusing him with mismatches all over the field. And I think that's my I'm going to use this as sort of a way to transition to the Raiders now. I do think that one of my biggest takeaways was their O-line is great, but we already knew that. But Darren Waller, they had no answer for, and he was just a problem all game. And with the way that he was able to really, I feel like, dominate this Saints team. Jenkins couldn't stop him. Really, no one could stop him, and that's a concern for the Saints as well. But Waller, people forget he was drafted as a receiver, and he had a tremendous game on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's happened is, I think you look at Ruggs' stat line and it wasn't good. I think he only had 1 catch for the game, I believe, right? And but I do think the one thing he's able to do is he's able to make this secondary have to be honest. And they can't just overcrowd the middle of the field for Jacobs and Waller because they have guys that can burn them over the top. And I think all this space opening up for Darren Waller, and obviously he's a terrific athlete, I think that's a huge advantage for what they're trying to do. And I think that's going to be, it's the calling card for what this offense is going to do. They have a guy who can stretch him over the top. They have, Renfro and Waller that can run over the middle and make some plays. And they have Jacobs that's going to pound the rock. I think this is going to be a good offense, and they have a great offensive line to help all that out. I think that this is going to be a very good offense. I think that they're going to be in the top 12 in the league with offensive times.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit more about both these teams in just a bit. I think the Raiders probably pretty soon. Interesting matchup there. But first, now we can get into the preview. Fun Monday Night Football game, though. Let's talk about the game I'm going to give you. I'm going to go Rams-Bills. This is a game I don't want to have to make a prediction for, so I'm going to put you in the predicament here. 2 good teams, 2 2-0 teams. We have MVP candidate Josh Allen in the mix here. Who do you have winning this game? Buffalo is currently favored, but just by 2 points.
Man, I did not want to pick this game. I guess
that's why I gave it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think that Buffalo being at home, even though without the crowd, I think it is going to be an advantage. I think that the Bills have more depth. I think the defense is built to take on this Rams passing attack. I think there's a lot I still like about Buffalo. There's a lot I really like about the Rams, but I just think this is too tough a matchup to travel cross country to the East Coast. I think Darrell Henderson's going to be the big calling card for this one. Or the X factor, for this one is if Darrell Henderson can get going and they're not able to use their play action as effectively as they like, then the Rams have a pretty good shot at winning this. But I like Buffalo's defense being able to hold them down.
Yeah, what I'm interested about this game is that Buffalo they like to play a lot of man, which obviously with play action against man is not as effective, and we all know the Rams love play action. I think that One of the things that I might be concerned about for Buffalo, I did have the Rams, not by a lot. I was very going back and forth. I put the Rams. My reasoning for it was because I feel like they also have enough wide receiving depth. We saw Van Jefferson have a really good game on two. I'm a little bit concerned about how well can the Bills sort of that those sort of end tier guys, if the Rams decide to go 4 receivers or even 3 receivers and a Tyler Higbee out there, how well will Buffalo be able to defend that? And on the flip side, Josh Allen hasn't played a defense like the Rams defense yet this season. I know he's been looking great so far, at least statistically, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against a much better defense. I'm looking forward to seeing what Stephon Diggs can do against Jalen Ramsey. This is in my opinion, a big prove-it game for Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it is. I've had my point on Josh Allen for I've said it week after week. He hasn't proven to me that he can beat good teams. When he's the best athlete on the field against bad teams, it works in his favor. Let's see if that works out this week. I mean, this is going to be a good team. This is by far the best team he's played this season. And even when he's looked terrific so far this season in 2 weeks, he still misses throws. So are the Rams and guys, the Pro Bowlers they have on that defensive side of the ball, are they going to be able to take advantage? It's possible. I'm picking this one based off of Buffalo's defense rather than the Bills' offense.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I think most times when you pick Buffalo, you're picking their defense, but their offense has looked good. I mean, even if you want to take out Josh Allen for a second, just talk about the offense as a whole. Bill's offense has looked good. Again, the Jets and the Dolphins. So interesting week 3, trying to figure this out. Let's go over to let's go over to you now. Let's give you the next pick. Well, I mean, you have the next pick. Who do you have?
All right. Let's see. I really don't want to pick my own team here, so I'm going to pass this one to you. I'm deferring this one to you. I'm going Raiders Patriots in Foxborough for week 3. You can go ahead and pick this one.
Yeah, this is a good one. This was also my second. So here's my thought process. We saw, as we talked about earlier, the Raiders have a really good offense. They have a really good offense. I was not impressed with what I saw defensively last week with New England. I do think that kind of a lot of our worst fears have become realized. Especially, and my biggest concern is that the Raiders, who love to run the ball, this is a defense that I still don't. I like their guys up front. I don't love their linebacking core. I haven't loved the linebacking core. And this is the Raiders team that loves to attack that linebacking core. And so I really am concerned about the Patriots defense. And on the flip side, it seems like John Gruden designed this team to beat New England. I feel like for the Raiders defense, there's so many physical guys. Everyone is willing to go in and make a play. They have corners who are willing to come in and make plays. They have safeties who are willing to come in and make plays. They have their defensive linemen are good run stoppers. They don't just have guys out there just rushing the passer. So I do feel like this is a matchup problem for the New England Patriots. And this just strikes me as the kind of game that New England loses and then everyone freaks out and then they win 8 in a row.
Yeah, I feel like it's a decent matchup for both sides on offense. The Dolphins game, that even as Fitzpatrick was bad, he was still pretty efficient in the middle of the field. Where Russell Wilson in 10 yards and in was 16 or 17, and the one incompletion was the drop pass by Greg Olsen that was returned for a touchdown. So, right. I mean, I just think that there's a huge problem with how this is going to match up. Juwan Bentley has proven that he cannot cover, so we can't put him on Waller. That means that a safety, whether it's Adrian Phillips or Kyle Duggar, comes down and covers Waller, and then that leaves a bunch. There's no size in the middle of this defense, and that's what I'm really concerned about. They can't. Even Chris Carson and a bad Seahawks offensive line, no disrespect to Chris Carson, but I think he's just okay. Chris Carson and a bad offensive. Carson's
great.
He's fine.
He's great. Get out of here.
Chris Carson's great. He's not Josh Jacobs.
I want to make a film study talking about how great he is, and I'm going to call it "Screw You, Kyle." Chris Carson is great.
Okay, he's not Josh Jacobs. How's that?
Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay, so he's not Josh Jacobs, and I think. My professional analysis is that the Raiders' offensive line is better than the Seahawks' offensive line. And, I just think that that's going to be a major problem. There's no size in that New England middle of the field that's going to get killed by that run game. I think that whoever lines up on Waller is going to have some matchup problems. I actually think it's going to end up being Gilmore on Waller, which is going to be weird. And I just think that's going to be a tough matchup. But offensively, I think they can score. I think the one thing that the Patriots need to do is that they need to be aggressive and on the front foot early. I think that they kind of play conservative to start the first half and then kind of wait for Cam to bail them out in the second half. I think they just need to let Cam do his thing, or to steal it from the Seahawks, let Cam cook a little bit and let him be aggressive early in games. Let him throw the ball downfield and get Harry and Element involved. And maybe that's where they had their shot by, putting up 28 points and their defense gets a couple turnovers. But I don't like this matchup. I'm really concerned about this game.
Yeah, it should be a fun game though. I do think that the way that New England wins is they put up a good amount of points, and maybe Carr makes a mistake, or maybe that they can stop the run with their. I do like their interior defensive line. I thought they've looked really good, so I think there is some hope there. But yeah, let's move on because we could probably talk about this we could probably do an entire podcast just on this game. But let's just go ahead and I will give you my next pick. This is another game I don't feel too comfortable either way picking. I don't really want to pick either of these teams. I'm going to go Bears Falcons. I feel like this is a game that I could definitely see going either way. Good defense against bad defense. Good offense against bad offense. Who do you got for this one?
The luck has to. The luck has to bounce in Atlanta's favor for sooner or later, I feel like. I'm going to take the Falcons here. I think this is the back down to earth game for the Bears, who haven't really looked impressive in their 2 games, but have still won 2 games. And like you said, the Falcons offense has looked very impressive through 2 games, but has unfortunately the defense and, their onside kick coverage have failed them. So I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I just don't think, as good as the Bears defense is, I don't think there's enough on this Bears defense to prevent the Falcons from scoring 24 points. And I don't see the Bears, even with the Falcons defense, scoring 24 points. So I'm going to take the Falcons.
Yeah, I think fair. I do think this is a very interesting it's an interesting game. I'm looking forward to seeing, Calvin Ridley has been on a tear through 2 weeks, kind of underrated. Is he typically, he had typically been the kind of guy who was putting up solid numbers, but was kind of just being a good Robin to Julio's Batman. He's been great so far. I'm interested to see how Chicago can defend that. Obviously, they have a very good defense themselves, but I do think that their corners might be the one area that Atlanta can take advantage. On the flip side, I do think that Atlanta isn't necessarily a poorly talented team. To me, I feel like they're a poorly coached team on defense. I mean, they don't have like super talent either, but I do feel like they're very slow in making these decisions. And the way to really hurt them is by throwing the ball deep. So again, we talk about, we sort of joked about it earlier about letting Trubisky cook. I do think that the way to win this game is to have Trubisky throw the ball early and often for Chicago to win. But yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan's also just playing at such a high level right now. I do think that's probably a fair bet, but I could see Chicago pulling this one out.
Yeah, I mean, I see it either way. I feel like this could be a big Allen Robinson breakout game for this season. He's been a little quiet through the first 2 weeks, even though, they're winning some football games. I could see him, getting going and then putting up some points. But at the same time, I just think luck has to bounce the other way once in a while. And so I just think that, fortune is going to favor Atlanta sooner or later. It could be this decade. It could be next decade. But no, I just think Atlanta gets a break here and they're able to win this game and their offense gets it done. Shout out to Dan Quinn continuing to be bad at defense.
Yes, the rarely seen defensive-minded coach that has a great offense and terrible defense. You love to see it. Does luck have to turn around for the Falcons? Because I don't think it does. I think it would have done it by now if it had to. I think Falcons fans are kind of saying like, yeah, I'm not sure if that's true. I think that you would think that after 28-3, I think it's pretty fair to say that it doesn't have to turn around.
Yeah, they got to get something going here. I mean, I think this team's too good. This is definitely one of the better 0-2 teams. And I just feel like that they have to get a win here. I think that this is, especially if they want to keep up with this division, they can't go down 0-3. I think that they get it done this week.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I could see it happening. I'm interested to see. I almost wonder for Atlanta strategy, just like throw the ball like 100 times this game. But yeah, should be a fun game. We don't spend too long on it. Let's go to your next pick now. Who do you have? Who are you going to give to me?
All right, I guess we'll just take this one off the board now. I think that we're both kind of feeling the same way on this one, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I'm going to go Ravens and Chiefs Monday night, the game everyone's looking forward to. So let's go with that one.
Okay. Yeah, no, this should be a very fun game, I think. Again, interesting enough, they played week 3 last year as well. I think these are, Monday Night Football. They did a great job. The schedule makers did putting this one on the Monday night game. So I've recorded a video. I still have to edit it about the Kansas City Chiefs and what went wrong for them last week against the Chargers. And a lot of what it is when they play these cover 3 zone defenses with good pass rushers. We've seen this with they lost to Seattle a few years ago. They struggled against the San Francisco. They've now struggled a couple of times against the Chargers. It's that this cover 3 zone with consistent pressure, they can't get those shots down the field the way they want to. Now, this is not what the Ravens do, but it's not entirely different than what the Raiders do either. They like to have one safety deep. They like to blitz a lot. So they're still getting that pressure, even if they don't necessarily have a Joey Bosa or a Nick Bosa. And I think the idea is going to be to try to limit try to get the Kansas City Chiefs off the field as much as possible. It's one of the weird situations where if you give up a 35-yard drive that stalls just outside of field goal range, so they punt it and you get it into 10, you feel like that's a win. And so I think that there is some real intrigue there. I also think it's worth mentioning Earl Thomas probably had his worst game of the season against Kansas City last year. I'm going to pick the Ravens. I probably should have said that earlier. I do think that this is the way that I think that the Ravens are the better team. I think their defense is better suited to stop Kansas City than Kansas City's defense is better suited to stop Baltimore. But at the end of the day, with 2 guys like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, anybody could win this game.
Yeah, I definitely think either team can win this game. I think the one thing I just don't trust, especially after seeing what the Chargers did offensively last week, I don't really trust the Chiefs linebackers in the middle of that defense to handle Lamar in that running game. I think that that's going to be a major problem for the whole Chiefs in this one. I think the Ravens are going to control this game. You said that's kind of what they have to do. I think they control time of possession. I think they control a lot of that aspect of the game. They're going to have the ball a lot, and I just think that the Ravens are right now. I just think the Ravens are a better team, and I don't think it's a hot take to say that. They look like the better team in this through 2 weeks, and I think they have a better roster, and I think that they can easily win this one and limit some of what Mahomes likes to do on offense.
Yeah, I think it's also maybe a bit concerning for Kansas City how badly their offensive line did look. They only gave up 1 sack, and that's largely because of Mahomes. But Mahomes was under pressure, and he was getting rid of the ball very quickly a lot throughout that game to avoid more damage. And again, it probably seems like I'm being very negative about Kansas City. Kansas City is a top 2 team in the NFL. I think they're number 2. And we're holding these teams to a high standard. What are the ways that the Kansas City Chiefs pull this off? Is it just going to be Mahomes makes a couple of miraculous throws, or is there a way they can stop or at least slow down Lamar on defense?
I think defensively, if they're able to kind of contain Lamar, and I think the one thing that you have to see is, one of the things they talked about with Russell Wilson last week too, was the way to kind of contain him in the pocket is to blitz players from the secondary. And I think guys like Tyrann Mathieu are very good at blitzing from the secondary. And if they're able to kind of contain him and corral him in the pocket that way, maybe they have a chance of limiting some of his, I think Lamar has made significant strides as a passer in the pocket, but I still think he's infinitely better when he's rolling to his right, making those throws. I think he's, one of the best passers in the league in that situation because he just is such a threat no matter what. And, so I think that's going to be a big thing. And then you mentioned the Ravens looking to blitz a lot. I think the Chiefs offense, I don't think it necessarily has to be Patty makes some miraculous throws. I think he just has to make the right throws. If they're sending a blitz, a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be really big in this one, leaking out behind that blitz and making some catches. I think that could be a big aspect of this one. And I think that's how the offense gets it done.
Yeah, I like that. Good stuff by you. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what who's covering CEH. It might end up being Patrick Queen. That'd be an interesting rookie matchup if that is the case. I like the idea of. I think you're right about Kansas City. I think you blitz the hell out of Lamar Jackson. You get him to throw the ball, and you trust your secondary, which has been very good. So yeah, good stuff. I'll go ahead and give my next pick now. I'm gonna pick the Thursday night football game, the one we've all been waiting for. We all circled this one when we saw it on our calendars. Dolphins Jaguars. What a wild one it should be. Who do you have? Jaguars are -3 favorites in this one.
The Jaguars. I think that they're sneaky underrated, and I think Miami tries hard but isn't talented. I think that they're pretty undisciplined on defense. I think you saw a lot, especially in that Buffalo game. Not going to compare Jacksonville to Buffalo by any means, but at the same time, you know the MO for Buffalo and what John Brown, Stephon Diggs like to do. And there's just times where there wasn't a safety over top as these guys are running deep. I didn't quite understand the game plan there. I didn't understand the execution there. I think the defense is I think that the Jaguars are just going to be able to make some plays. Gardner Minshew did throw 2 interceptions last week, but I think that he has still been a very efficient quarterback this year. And I think Jerome Robinson's actually a stud. I think the Jaguars win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think both teams will have their way on offense. But at the end of the day, I do think I trust Minshew more than I trust Patrick, especially to not make mistakes. I do. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. Minshew, he did have a couple turnovers last week, but they weren't really. He had a much better game than maybe that would. If you look at the stats, you think, okay, maybe he played fine, but he actually played pretty well. And James Robinson is just so much fun to watch. I think that I could easily see both teams putting up 30 points in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. I just think that the Jaguars have looked more explosive. I think that I could see DJ Chark also having like a huge game for this one. I just think, I think that people just discounted that, there was a huge fire sale in Jacksonville that they're easily going to fall apart. There's so much talent on this offense with guys like Chark, Robinson, and what Minshew has done and how he's developed in year 2. I just think that if it does become a shootout, then this is definitely Jacksonville's game. In my opinion, I think they have much more of a chance to be explosive.
Yes. I'm with you. I think Jacksonville is going to win as well. I see the over under 48. I think you got to just go to over there just to have some fun watching this Thursday night game, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I think that anyone wants to root for the over. No one wants to root for the under. I think it'll be a good one. The battle for Florida, besides Tampa Bay, but as far as TDSLY here says they should play Tua now. Why not? I 100% agree. Free Tua Tagovailoa. I'm on the record that saying if Tua didn't have injury problems, he would have been the number 1 pick easily this past season. And I think that he's legit and he needs to play some football. So I would be all about Tua playing.
Can I give my take on this? Why are we putting in Tua? Why did we have Fitzpatrick start the season then? If we're going to have Fitzpatrick start the season, he's been exactly Fitzpatrick through 2 games, 1 great game, 1 terrible game. This is what we signed up for with Fitzpatrick being our starter. Why bother with this then? Why don't we just start Tua week 1 then? If we're gonna have him start week 3.
Well, that was exactly my question. Why even bother having him starting? The Dolphins couldn't have honestly thought that they were going to win 10 games this year, or even 9 games and compete for a playoff spot. I mean, no disrespect to Dolphins, but you just have to look at the talent of the roster and say this is not a 9-win team. I don't understand why we were so conservative still with quarterbacks. I think that if you feel like that they give you an opportunity if you feel like a veteran gives you an opportunity to win, sure. But at the same time, I don't think Fitzpatrick gave you an opportunity to win. And I think just, getting your rookie some reps is most important thing. You could talk about possibly he wasn't back from his injury right away, but I just think Tua is infinitely more talented and has much more upside. I would play him right away.
Yeah. Again, same guy says that's a great question. Why is Fitzpatrick starting? I think also I see a super chat in chat. Thank you very much there.
Thank you.
Yes. No, I mean, I get it. But I think at this point, like if I just get plopped into Freaky Friday with Brian Flores. At this point, I feel like we've already given Fitzpatrick the shot. In my opinion, it's not fair to give up on him after 2 weeks. Like I didn't understand it when the Giants did it with Eli. Like at this point, he hasn't been terrible. Like let's just keep him.
So do you agree with Tyrod Taylor going back in?
Let's get to that. We'll get to that when we talk about that game. Right. Yeah. So let's just go ahead. So now it is your pick. Who are you going to give me? What game are you going to give me?
Let's see here. I will go with. This is great radio here. Let's go with the Cowboys and the Seahawks, 425. I think this could be a fun game.
Okay, Cowboys, Seahawks. Now I'm nervous because this is another one I had much lower on the list. This was my fourth to the bottom. So definitely reason to be nervous because last time you did what I thought was a reach. It ended up backfiring, and that was the one I got wrong. The only one we got wrong last week. Cowboys, Seahawks. I am going to go with the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks are a championship contender team. I think the Dallas Cowboys are a playoff contending team. I think that maybe not even if they were in a different division. Dallas played a really sloppy game against Atlanta, and they were lucky to get that victory. I mean, yes, they did things very well, especially towards the end. Yes, Dak played very well at the end, but they were a sloppy team, and that concerns me. I think this Seattle team is much better, and I think this Seattle team's defense is going to look much better when they don't have to play Jamal Adams as a free safety, and they can bring him back into strong safety, with Diggs coming back. I think that I have a really hard time seeing Dallas be able to stop Russell Wilson. They just gave up 39 points to Matt Ryan. I see no reason why it won't be a similar thing happening with Russell Wilson. And I think that for Dallas, they're just, again, like, I don't know, I still don't fully think that Mike McCarthy has proven much. I don't understand. There's this weird narrative. I'm going to go off on a tangent here, so just bear with me. But there was this moment when the Dallas Cowboys were down 15. They went for 2 on the first touchdown and didn't get it. And that was 100% the correct decision. Like every logical or analytical side of you says that's the correct decision because it was late in the game. You knew you were going to need either 2 touchdowns and a field goal or 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. They got one of the touchdowns. But now that they didn't get it, they knew they needed a touchdown and a field goal. They hurried up, were able to get the onside kick and a field goal. Great decision. I don't know why everyone hates it. Sorry, moving on. I had the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, the 2-point conversion thing. I didn't think the argument against it made no sense. So I was doing some quick math here. I am an English major, but I can do some mental math. Could you tell me how many passing yards a game the Seattle Seahawks have given up through 2 games? Small sample size, but go ahead and give me a guess.
423.
423 and a half is so you're basically right on the money there.
Yeah. I knew it was 450 and 396. So that I just try to split the difference there.
Yeah. So and then you saw actually guys like, shifty route runners like Julian Edelman and quick guys like Damiere Byrd have some success against them last week. So exactly tell me why Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb aren't going to go nuts this week. I think that's – go ahead.
Well, I do think it's fair to say that this is not the best secondary in football that we thought they might be heading into this season. But at the same time, why go nuts? Because I don't think they're what Atlanta is. And I do on offense. And I also think that it's fair to say that that with Diggs back in the game, we're not going to see the same thing that we saw. Really, I mean, you look at Ryan threw the ball, 55 times that first game. So, yeah, he threw 450 yards, but it's a bit misleading. Newton also threw the ball, I think, close to 40 times. Part of it is because Seattle is scoring so much on offense that now other teams have to catch up. I'm not saying their secondary is great, but I just think that, I think Seattle wins this game probably 35-24 or something like that, maybe 28.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I did pick – I'm on the fence here because I did pick the Seahawks to obviously go to the Super Bowl and play Baltimore. I also think Dak Prescott's really good. So I think that this could be a really good game. It just really depends on is Dak going to make enough plays? I do think that the one thing the Cowboys can't do is turn the ball over 3 times to start the game, which I don't think they will. And I think I think this will be a closer game than people think. I would still probably lean Seattle, but I could see this ending up another, 42-38 kind of game. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a two-score Seattle win.
Yeah, so we see again the great TDSLY says the Seahawks don't have a pass rush either. I think that's also a good point. I think that yeah, I mean, no, I'm with you, and this would be totally the Cowboys. We sort of talked about the most Patriots thing would be to lose and then win like 5 straight. This would be the most Cowboys thing to win this game. Everyone goes crazy, says they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then they lose like 4 in a row as well. So that's also fair. Any final thoughts on this one?
I think this is going to be must-watch TV as far as football games for the afternoon slate. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch.
Okay, yeah. Let's go over and let's talk about a game that we thought when we saw the schedule was going to be between potentially 2 powerhouses in the NFC. Saints coming off a bad loss on Monday Night Football, but I still think that this should be a very good game. We have a lot of good games this week. Packers at New Orleans. Saints are actually a 3-point favorite, which is a bit surprising. Who do you have winning this one?
Yeah, with no home crowd, that doesn't make sense. I'm going Packers in this one. I'm definitely concerned. Definitely concerned about the Saints offense, as we talked about when we were rehashing that Monday night game. And I just think that the Packers are too good. I think that their defense should have a pretty good game in this one, especially locking up some of these Saints weapons in the passing game. Alvin Kamara is going to be the biggest question. Can he have another big game and carry this Saints offense? But I just don't see any way that the Saints offense is able to keep up with the Packers offense in this one. I don't think the Saints defense has been as impressive as people had thought, and I think that the Packers are going to be able to score a lot in this one.
Yeah, Saints defense has been disappointing. I also think that I like LaFleur in this moment. I think that this is a good matchup schematically for Green Bay. And again, until I see it from Breeze, I mean, I don't love it. And this is a good secondary, so they're going to have to try and run the ball a lot. Which, luckily for them, they have a pretty great offensive line and running back, so they can certainly try and pull that off. But I think this one is I think this one's a clear-cut Green Bay victory. I will be betting on Green Bay. But again, let's try to do the opposite then. What is the scenario where New Orleans wins this one?
New Orleans wins this game by Kamara just having a huge day, the offensive line bullying the Packers' defensive line, and Marshawn Lattimore and this Saints defense is able to get a couple turnovers. That's kind of how I see it happening. I don't really see any scenario where this team's matching touchdown for touchdown against Rodgers and the way he's playing right now. I just see it that they would have to force a couple turnovers, and Kamara's controlling the tempo of the game, and they're pretty much just riding him and Murray to that victory.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the way you do it is if Lattimore goes up one-on-one against Adams and can shut him down. That seems to be the key to victory. If they can find a way to get Adams out of the game, or at least limit him with only one guy, and then you can really play your defense. That could be a huge thing. So I think that's the way that the Saints win. But this does seem like it seems like Green Bay should be favored here, but you never know. Because of all the stuff I talked about, Jameis Winston will probably get put in the game and throw for 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions.
Only 4 interceptions in a thrilling 42-35 loss with 2 interceptions returned for a touchdown.
Exactly. When they trailed the entire game and were down 24 in the fourth quarter. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. All right. Let's move on. You can give me a game now if you want.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go with the Steelers and the Texans. Can Deshaun Watson get this one done and get the Texans back on the right track? What do you got here for this one?
I have the Steelers. I think this is, kind of obvious to me. I was interested to see, I thought that Big Ben looked so good. Another video I made I haven't edited yet. I thought Big Ben looked so good with Pittsburgh, where the way that he was so patient, which is something you don't always say with Big Ben. He is someone who likes to take his shots, but he took his shots in such a smart way where he really waited until he had a moment to take a shot downfield. Against Denver, they like to play a lot of zone, but the occasional times he caught him in man. He had that big touchdown to Claypool. He had another big touchdown scrambling, throwing over across his body over the middle. I think that Pittsburgh's offense looks, honestly, I think it's fair to say Pittsburgh's offense might look better than the Texans' offense. And their defense is obviously better than the Texans' defense. So I think that when you have the upside on both sides of the ball, I think that really the way that Houston probably wins this is by passing the ball, because I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. I know David Johnson is easily the greatest halfback in the league, according to someone. But also
according to Bill O'Brien.
exactly. I just worry that I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off and throw the ball that consistently against a good Steelers defense. I think the Steelers will probably have a pretty easy time passing against the Texans. I honestly think this could probably be a blowout.
Yeah, I think this is another bad matchup for the Texans, 3 in a row. Watson's going to be running for his life again in this one, and that Steelers secondary is still going to get the job done. And I just, the Texans secondary against the receivers of Pittsburgh is just going to be a problem. Big Ben doesn't have to be terrific. He just has to put these receivers in positions to be successful, especially against this Texans secondary, which I think isn't very good. So I just think that this is going to be a bad matchup. And yeah, I'd probably pick the Steelers too. I think that this could be a 10-point win.
Yeah, I just see the great Sauce Boss is in the chat saying, I'm sorry, but the O-line will not be able to handle the Steelers. Deshaun Watson will be running for his life more than against the Chiefs or the Ravens. We also have Kenneth Lee saying, I think this is a bad matchup for Houston. Great defense versus bad O-line and trading away your best receiver. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, really tough start to the season for Houston. They're not an 0-3 team, I think, but they probably will end up being 0-3. Unless you have any more final thoughts, I will move on and give my next pick. Is that good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I think the Steelers do win this one a lot.
All right. Let's go. Let's talk some balls. Let's go. The Washington Balls going up against the Cleveland Browns. Browns 7-point favorites here. There's a reason why I'm giving you this game, but first go ahead and make your selection.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted. I'm going to go with the Balls. I'm picking the Balls in this one with the upset. I think that they're going to be able to create some turnovers. And I think that the combination of Baker Mayfield's job of he's really good at causing turnovers and forcing turnovers. And as many problems as there is with the Balls on offense, they don't turn the ball over a whole lot. So I'm going to go with the Balls controlling this game with the turnover margin and that pass rush making Baker Mayfield make even more mistakes. I'm going to go with the Balls in this one by a great score of like 14-13 because I don't think there's any way this hitting 50 points.
Yeah. First off, I loved your phrasing of Baker Mayfield is great at great at giving up turnover. It's very, very nice the way you phrased it to Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I mean he's someone who he constantly makes bad decisions, and I do think that with the Washington football team, also known as the Washington Balls, according to only us, I do think that. I do think that he'll be under pressure a lot, and this is why I gave you this game, because I think he'll be under pressure a lot, and I think he is someone who makes poor decisions. And if I'm Stefanski, I'm almost like having him throw the ball like 10 times. I'm doing what him with Minnesota did with Kirk Cousins, where it's like, don't give him the ball, don't let him screw it up, because this just seems like the classic Baker Mayfield makes too many mistakes and loses to a team he shouldn't lose to type of game. But I could also see it going the other way. I could see Cleveland pulling off the victory. The -7 line is annoying because I feel like either Cleveland's going to win by 100 or lose by like 10. There's no way this is going to be an 8-point game. I feel like.
No, that's definitely fair. I think that Joe Kim said it here really well. Balls have speed. Brown's secondary so bad. Although I thought Denzel Ward was pretty good last week, even though the rest of the secondary I didn't think was very good. I think Terry McLaurin could have a big game in this one. He seems to be the only guy Haskins knows is on the field. So that definitely helps him get some good stats. And I think he could have a big game in this one. And look, I think that they're going to use a lot of I think they're going to use a lot of Chubb and Hunt in this one. But I just think if they throw the ball 12 times even, I could see 3 of those being Baker Mayfield mistakes, and that's just too many mistakes. And this defense is good enough to take advantage of them. So I'm going to lean with that defense. I said I really like this team after week 1. I thought Arizona was a really bad matchup for them because Kyler, like I said, is a great equalizer to a really good pass rush based on everything he can do. So I'm going to go with the Balls pass rush, getting it done here against the Browns.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. All right, so now it's your pick. What game are you gonna give me?
All right. I'm gonna go with potentially the return of Tyrod Taylor. This is a weird one for me. I think that the Panthers are bad, and lose McCaffrey, but
I'll tell you first off, just to cut up, just so you know, before you make your selection, Herbert will be playing in this game.
He is going to play in this one?
Yes.
All right, so we got
to change it. Just letting you know.
Okay. Well, I don't like any of these games left. I guess I'll go with the Lions and Cardinals. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Can the Lions bounce back? Can Matty Ice get some although this is Matt Stafford. Matty Ice is in Atlanta. Right. I forgot he had his own nickname anyway. And I'll go with can Matt Stafford get this done against Arizona, who everyone's really high on?
Yeah, no, this is a good one. This is one that I had this is second highest on my list of the ones that were left. I do think that this last time these two teams played each other, it was a tie. I think both teams have gotten a lot better since then. But at the end of the day, I just kind of whenever I think like, okay, this is kind of close. Who do I think is going to win? I just try to go back to the coaching. And I know it's such a lazy take to just blame everything on Patricia, but like Patricia's really not good. And Kingsbury has been really good at outsmarting coaches constantly. And Patricia's the kind of coach where he tries to do too much as opposed to just letting his players play. I think Kingsbury will be able to take advantage of that. Maybe not, but I don't know. I do feel like Murray will have all day to throw in the pocket. He'll be able to run around. You can't 3-man rush against Murray. I have a feeling Patricia will try to anyways. I forgot to put the banner up, but I am going to go with Arizona winning this game. But you never know. I think this is a good upset pick by you.
Yeah, I think that there's potential. I think people are jumping on that Cardinals bandwagon a little too fast. I think they're good, but I think people are just ready to like chalk this up as like a 4 seed in the playoffs or competing with Seattle, which I'm not sure if they're there yet. It could be an interesting game. The Cardinals don't want to let this get to the fourth quarter when it's close because Matt Patricia is the self-proclaimed fourth quarter genius. So, he was the mastermind behind the Malcolm Butler play. If you don't remember that game,
I heard that
from 6 years ago. Matt Patricia, who wasn't even the guy in NFL Films who told Butler to go in, and wasn't even Bill Belichick. He was the mastermind behind that play. Fourth quarter genius. If this gets close, obviously you have to lean him. But I'm still leaning Arizona. I just think that the talent discrepancy and Chandler Jones, I think, is just going to be able to get it done on defense. I think Murray can get it done on offense. And like you said, if they're just going to rush 3, Murray's going to pick them apart.
I have this weird thing, and like I always do this with sports, even though it's totally irrational, where like I look at the records and think what seems more like appropriate. And I feel like the Lions being 1-2 and the Cardinals being 2-1 just feels more right. So part of me almost thinks the Lions are going to win just because of that, even though it's totally irrational.
I mean, I guess I agree with that, but at the same time, what have we seen from this Lions team that they're going to keep up with them?
Well, they played great in the first quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see that there's enough in this team to be able to get this done against what I think is a solid team in Arizona. Not taking anything away from them. They battled Chicago, who I thought is probably one of the worst 2-0 teams. And I don't know. I just think that the Cardinals are head and shoulders better right now.
Yeah, I also see Don Burr in the chat says Stafford hasn't had a run game for 12 years. I think that part of the thing, I think the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I think I'm still waiting for a good run offense to be able to beat this Arizona or just go up against this Arizona team. So we really know what's going on, or a good balanced attack with a running game. Maybe that'll be the Lions. Peterson has looked solid, but we'll have to wait and see.
They have 3 good running backs. How do they not have a run game? That's what I don't get.
Well, I mean, it's looked all right through 2 weeks, but yeah, let's go over to All right, my pick now. I will go. I will give you. I don't like that one. Let me think about it. You know what? I did not have this one higher up, but simply because I know you like it, I'm going to give you Panthers Chargers. Just to annoy you.
Chargers. I don't like the Panthers. I like them even less without Christian McCaffrey. Um, Herbert looked good. I don't know. I'm not going to say Herbert's going to sustain that success. I don't think he's going to sustain that success for every week this season as a rookie. But if there's any defense that he can attack, it's this Carolina defense, which has, I still think, a bad secondary. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. Chargers in this one. I just think they're a better team. Austin Eckler could have a big game in this one.
Yeah, I mean that's the right pick. At this point, we're just kind of picking the ones we feel like have the biggest upset potential to give to the other team. I do think that there is a chance that Herbert makes like a ton of throws 2 picks and that's what I lose. But honestly, I thought that Herbert's interception last week wasn't his fault. On the broadcast, it looked like he was throwing a bad throw, but I watched the all 22. I didn't realize that was cover 2. That wasn't cover 3. So when he made that throw, the safety who was deep, it was Keenan Allen, did beat the safety. So that's why Herbert made that throw, even though he could have ran for a first down. He saw a guy wide open, but Snead, who was all the way on the complete opposite side of the field, ran over, just made a tremendous play. So I actually thought that the one thing everyone's blaming him for wasn't really even his fault. It just looked like it was on the broadcast footage. So I thought that Herbert was really good. And he will be playing, but he is a rookie. You never know. Carolina, I do think that without McCaffrey, they're a different team. But maybe they can scheme their way to have some success against a defense that did a great job of shutting down Mahomes, but they're 2 very different offenses. And then maybe if they can just get some help on the other side. I still don't know if I love the Chargers offense, but it's not like their line more than anything. But yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a LAC win.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling too. I just feel like that there's there's usually those couple of teams that, you see early that it's just like, these are 2 teams that I feel like I can bet against every week. And, they're going to win 2 or 3 games. So obviously you lose a couple times. But I just feel like the Panthers and the Jets are 2 teams that I feel confident in that I can bet against every week. And if for the foreseeable future when McCaffrey's out, I definitely feel that way. I just think the Chargers are way more talented, especially when they're missing their best player in Carolina.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get on. We'll move on here. This is now your pick. We have 5 games left. What game are you going to give me?
All right. Everyone thinks that everyone's hitting the panic button for this team. Can they get it done? I'm not sure. This is a tough game for them. You'll probably have this one a little lower than I do, but I think that they got to get it done sooner or later if they're going to have any hope. I'm going to go with Tennessee and Minnesota.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good pick. I can't believe this line is 2.5. I can't believe that it's just Titans minus 2.5 because I feel like they should be way favored. I think Tennessee's a really good team. I think that Minnesota has a chance here, but again, this is the same defense that has given Cousins trouble in the past. So again, it's another cover 3 zone style defense. I don't know if I do think there's reason to be concerned for Kirk Cousins. I think the question is really going to be, will the pass rush be able to get to Kirk Cousins? Typically, when you ask, will the pass rush get to a Minnesota Vikings quarterback? The answer is yes. The offensive line has not been very good. I think Tennessee wins this game handily. And I also just think that with the really bad play by Minnesota's corners, I think that Tennessee has a huge advantage there. And I think they'll still be able to run the ball consistently. Derrick Henry, who only has 3.6 yards per attempt, or per carry, is still second most in rushing yards because of how many carries he gets, which partially explains the low yards per carry. I think Tennessee's a really good team, and I think that this again, you never know. Maybe Minnesota figures it out, but I think Tennessee is a significantly better team than Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Tannehill hard counts all the time, but at the same time, if he's going to pass the ball this efficiently, Minnesota has no shot. They have no shot with his secondary. They have no shot with these cornerbacks keeping up with some of these guys on the Tennessee offense. And this one, Jonnu Smith has been fantastic as well. I just think that if Tannehill is going to throw this ball this efficiently, I don't see anything out of Minnesota where they're going to limit that.
I'm with you. Definitely, I think this is the biggest question of the game. Will Cousins score safety for the third week in a row? What do you think? Will he three-peat?
I'm going to go with no. He gets back on the right foot in that, but I do think that there's two
Okay.
turnovers here from Cousins.
Hmm.
No safeties, though. I think that they stop putting the ball in his hands close to the goal line and just give it to Dalvin Cook. And yeah, it's
Hmm.
hard to bet on three safeties in a row. That's kind of rare, but yeah, I just think that Cousins has been bad. Just really, really bad. And I don't know how it gets better when he doesn't have a guy to throw deep to.
Well, it would also be nice if the Vikings would actually let him throw the ball on first or second down every now and then too, when every team knows the play is coming and Cook is getting 1 yard, and now you're having him be, third down and 8 every time. And they even ran it on a third down and 9. Minnesota, it's like, if you don't trust I don't care if you don't like your quarterback. If you don't trust your cornerback, you lose. You have to be able to have some faith, and they don't. Very frustrating to watch, I think. And I love Gary Kubiak. I think he's great. But yeah, we'll move on now. I'll give before I get too heated about the Vikings offensive strategy. I'm gonna let's give you someone who maybe there's a little bit of Burrow magic in the air. Maybe this is the game where Philadelphia bottoms out. It seems like it's not going to happen. It seems like Philadelphia is very desperate. But I'm going to give you this game. I'll let you make a prediction on.
Yeah, I mean, I almost say that the Eagles have to win this one, but at the same time, if our predictions hold true, you have the Balls at 2-1, the Cowboys at 1-2, the Eagles 1-2 or on 3, and then however we pick the Giants. So I mean, I almost feel like that division's so bad that they don't have to win, but at the same time, you eventually got to get this right sooner or later. I just think that they've played some tough. I'm going with the Eagles. I think Wentz has a bounce back performance. He's getting slandered like crazy, but I think he turns it around this week. Has a big game against a Bengals defense that I don't think is very good, and he's able to get it done, and they get the win.
Yeah, I mean, this is the obvious pick, I think, especially. I mean, I'll be interested to see what Philadelphia's defensive line will do against Cincinnati's offensive line. That probably won't be fun for Burrow. Kind of crazy that Burrow threw the ball so much. He threw the ball over 60 times on Thursday Night Football last week. So I'm very interested to see how this game works. It should be a fun game. Burrow will probably have to have a great game to win. But again, for Wentz, he has to cut out these mistakes. I mean, I think that it's clear the Bengals don't have a great defense. He has to cut down these mistakes. This is a get right game for Philadelphia. And honestly, this is 5.5. That's the line. Eagles favorite 5.5. If they don't cover, I think it's almost panic time at this point, even if they win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that they haven't, it's obvious to say that they haven't looked at their potential, but at the same time, they've played they played a solid team last week in the Rams, and I think that they're able to get it done. This is by far the worst defense that they're going to play for these first 3 weeks, and so maybe it's an opportunity for the offense to figure out some of the kinks. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go with the Eagles. I think that they're clearly a better team. If they can right this ship, I think that Wentz has to prove himself.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I think Wentz will, though. I do think Philadelphia will win, but I don't love either of these 4 games left. Let's let you make a prediction now, or not a prediction. Let's have you give me a game to make a prediction. We have 3 left: the Niners, Jets, Bucs, Broncos, and Jets, Colts. Which one do you have?
I'm going to give you the. I'm just going to give you your team here. There's too many questions. I don't like any of those other 2 games really at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you this game here. So I know Jeff Driscoll's in, so that's going to be a huge problem for the Broncos. But how are you picking this Buccaneers-Broncos game?
I mean, obviously Tampa Bay is the favorite. I mean, so that's my pick. I do think that without Drew Lock, Driscoll actually looked all right, but still, I feel like, again, Denver loves to have this sort of zone coverage scheme, and I'm a bit concerned about how that would work from their perspective with Tom Brady coming to town. You got a lot of firepower on offense. So I do think that this could be a good matchup, even though I do like a lot of the pieces that Denver has on defense. Again, I think Von Miller going down just hurts them so much. And on the flip side, I do think that this is a kind of situation where Denver's probably going to want to run the ball, but you can't really run the ball against this Tampa Bay team. So it's going to be the only way you can really beat Tampa Bay on their defense is by throwing the ball a lot. And so now we got Driscoll with no Cortland Sutton trying to really, outpace Tom Brady. They have their work cut out for them. And I think that this is a really good game if both teams were healthy. One team is healthy, one team isn't. I'm still not sure about Chris Godwin, but even if he's not, I think this is Tampa Bay is heavy favorite. And even with 6.5 points, I will be betting on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it sucks because we were both pretty high on the Broncos in the offseason that we're essentially just having to punt on this season because with no Miller, with no Sutton for the season, I just don't see any way this gets fixed this year. I think that they have good pieces, that they're going to be pretty good in the future, but I don't see any way they keep up with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay's defense is really good, and I think that they're going to shut down a lot of what Broncos want to do. I think that Driscoll looks solid, but I think a lot of that had to do with, there was a defense that didn't really prepare to play Jeff Driscoll at all last week. So I think now that a team's actually preparing to play Jeff Driscoll, I think that they're going to be just fine. I think that they're going to shut down the Broncos offense. They're going to struggle to score in this one, and I think this is a great game for the Buccaneers to figure out a lot of what they want to do on offense and get some of these parts that haven't practiced together a whole lot. I think it's a great opportunity to get some of them playing and on the field together and get some reps in.
Yeah, part of me, there is the comparison between Denver and San Francisco from a couple of years ago when Garoppolo went down with an injury. They were very decimated with injuries, but then they were able to get the number 2 overall pick when they got Nick Bosa and then to go to the Super Bowl next year. I'm not saying that'll happen, but, there definitely are those similarities there. So let's talk about that team. Let's talk about San Francisco going back to their house tours. I believe they're staying in New Jersey. Now they will be playing the Giants. They are 4-point underdogs or 4-point favorites despite the plethora of injuries. And I find it interesting how, despite the fact that they are so decimated, they still end up getting picked second to last. I think there's a chance New York wins. I don't think it's a big one, but I think there is a chance here, right?
Yeah, I mean, the chances that Daniel Jones, doesn't turn the ball over as much because he's going to turn the ball over at least one time, I think. But I think that, the 49ers are decimated. They're no Thomas, no Bosa. I think that's a major problem. Unfortunately, because their division's so good, I now see them finishing 4th in the NFC West. Without those 2 guys on that defense, I think that's a big problem. And it doesn't matter how many games you get without Garoppolo. I'm taking it in this one because the Giants also lost their best player this past week, and I think that's going to be a huge loss, obviously, for their offense. But I see this one as kind of an ugly game with 2 teams that are kind of struggling to stay healthy and stay doing what they're doing. I'm going to take the Niners in this one.
Yes. I just looked it up. Amazingly, he has fumbled or thrown an interception in every game he's ever played in, Daniel Jones has, including week 1 where he only threw the ball, week 1 last year when he only threw the ball 4 times. He still had a fumble in that one. I'm assuming there was one of those where he maybe fumbled and the Giants recovered. But yeah, no, I mean, the turnovers are a problem, but I'm with you. I think Nick Mullins is a fine backup. I think that the San Francisco 49ers win this one. And it's going to be really tough for the Giants to pull this one out. I do think that the Giants defense looked good. Like, I think James Bradbury is, again, playing at such a high level. I like what their entire secondary is doing. I do like the Giants defense. But again, I think that the Niners are just going to run the ball. They're going to win this one. A dragon is outside your house, apparently. Yes. But no, I think that the 49ers probably win this one. Like, they get like 250 rushing yards and win 24-10.
Yeah, I think McKinnon can have a big game in this one. Is Mostert playing in this one?
I'm not sure.
I haven't seen yet either, but I do think that whoever's back there is going to have a big game. McKinnon showed that he's just as capable. I know it was the Jets, but he is just as capable of getting it done. And I think that the 49ers still are a better team than the Giants, even with all these injuries. It just stinks that this kind of happened to them and that they, going forward kind of have to deal with losing all these players.
Yes. Well, we'll go from losing a lot of players to losing a lot of games. New York Jets, the final game on the board. This is my prediction. I think I'm going to pick the Colts here.
What?
Yeah,
How?
yeah.
How?
Again, let's stuck with this. Jets line. Their Jets are plus 11. Is it big enough?
No.
No, you
I see that.
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I saw
Mhm.
this at 10.5 the other day and hit the 10.5
Mhm.
for the Colts anyways. I will say though, did you see that throw from Darnold? I think it was in garbage time. The dipping out of the pocket, rolling through his left. He threw this ball on a rope for a touchdown. It was one of the most incredible throws I've ever seen. And
Mhm.
he just did it out of thin air. And it just stinks that he's on this team.
Yeah.
And it thinks that his career's been wasted so far. That was just a fantastic throw, but the Jets stink. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think Colts by like 21.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's again. I've always said it's so hard to evaluate Darnold. Things to look for, perhaps. It'll be interesting to see. Um, yeah, not a lot. What is there? What is it? Say something exciting about this game. Pretend you're the marketing team. Jets Colts game. What do you got? How do you get people excited for this one?
Well, there's an interesting clash in colors on the field.
That's true.
So
Hmm.
there's something. I guess you could say
Super Bowl
how.
three rematch.
Yeah, there you go. They're going to
Hmm.
show so many Joe Namath clips in this one that
Yeah.
it's going to be insane. 'Cause they might as well just show the Super Bowl III over this game, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, if anyone planning on watching this one, just check out the super. You can find it online on YouTube or something. Just watch that. Yes. All right. Well, that is our show. Thank you, everyone who decided to check it out. I have a lightning game to watch. Very excited to watch this one. Um, yes, Kyle. Before we go, though, let them know where they can find you and where they can find all your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Check me out at GuyBostonSports.com, where I write Patriots stuff for any Patriots fans out there or anybody who wants to read my opinions on the Patriots and make fun of them because they hate the Patriots. You can go see that at GuyBostonSports.com. Also, every Wednesday morning, I put out the Patriot Way podcast. That's also at GuyBostonSports.com, but it's also on Anchor, Spotify. I think it's just about everything but Apple right now that you can get that podcast. That's the Patriot Way podcast, which somehow wasn't taken yet. And I'm breaking down week by week. I do a little bit of a recap, and then I preview some of the next game. So if any Raiders fans are on here, I know they're on here a lot. You can go check out the second half of this last week's episode. I talk a bit about previewing the Patriots Raiders and what to expect for the Patriots defense in that one. It is kind of a Patriots centric answer, but it's a fun thing to see. So make sure to check it out.
Yes, good stuff. As for me, you can just obviously check out this channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button on my videos, and check out my Twitch. I have a good time talking on Twitch. Definitely check that out. Also, Kenneth Lee says, "Go Stars." Kenneth, I thought you were cool. You are now dead to me. But until next time, everyone, have a good one.
Peace.